Greetings in the name of Jah, Rastafari, and Jesus of Nazareth. I bring good news. We're winning. But the great tribulation lays ahead. 2,000 years of history could not be wiped away so easily. The Zion train is coming. Truth bombs are absolutely mind-blowing lately. More intel than one person can keep up with. So much misinformation and disinformation that it's impossible to really know. We're right in the thick of the fog of war that I've talked about before. Remember, truth is always the first victim of war. We're in an information war and a spiritual war. Still, truth is the first victim. And you noticed that I had posted this Romana Didillo. Her last name is really tough. Romana is the Commander-in-Chief of Canada, according to her. And it wasn't a day after she made that announcement, and her video went viral, that 327 members of Parliament quietly resigned. And the media forgot to tell everybody. Hey, 327 people on the same day. Oh well, no news. Crazy. So I wanted to cover a whole bunch of things in today, aside from the Romana story, which I think is just amazing and really fun to watch. I posted it knowing that it was very likely disinformation or misinformation, but it's remained active. I mean, I took the video down, but she's been really gaining strength and growing on Telegram. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Trump warp speed and why that was such a big victory. Carrie Cassidy complains about it all the time. She's a hero to me, Carrie, and I want to straighten this out. That Trump was, I talked about Sun Tzu in the past. Know your enemy. It's the number one tenet in that Sun Tzu Art of War book. And in this case, the deep state, we have their playbook. And Trump, this was a thing that they knew. It was a card in the deck, the pandemic card. So they waited. Hillary was supposed to win, first of all. And the world would be a much different place had she won. But they had to hold back that corona until the very end of Trump's term because they didn't want to give him enough time to deal with it. Also, it put him in it was all about election fraud, so it would have put him in a really bad situation. So he, just like the show The Apprentice, he took it on and said, let's go for this. And what he did was he got in front of it. And he was therefore able to get the word experimental and avoid being mandated. So he did an amazing thing. If Carrie hears this, he saved us from being mandated. And his hope is that he's going to roll out med beds when he comes back and does a full disclosure, and that we'll be able to negate the damage from the experimental vaccine. So you should know. Another thing I'll clear up a little bit too is the witness protection program. There's a lot of people who don't really understand why there's anonymous people are using nom de plume. And I guess I'm referring to Juan O'Savin. But recently, Whiplash did a breakdown of the witness protection program according to their own statistics. And he figured out that there are over 900 people who are not criminals. So the witness protection program is for people who are testifying in criminal cases. There's 900 people that have no cases. So here's the rules, and you can go look this up yourself. You can quit anytime you like, just like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want. But if you do, and you take down your mask and use your real name, your whole family is off the program and you have no more protection. So you've got to just go with these nom de plumes so that these people can remain protected. So many people ask me about Invest Offshore and why I don't make videos about finance and overseas living and that sort of thing. Good question. The way that I look at the world right now can be best in relation to the Invest Offshore question, summed up with the Bob quote, "Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold." So at this point in human history, we need more knowledge because there's just too much confusion out there. And Carrie Cassidy, she is amazing. Her work is so important, right back to the beginning. She uses this expression divergent. She sure is divergent. She's also relentless. And it's a pursuit of truth about the secret space program. And we need to know more about this secret space program. Now, she said from the very start that the corona, we were going to find out eventually, it's off-world involvement. ETs are involved. And every government on our Earth has treaties with off-world governments. I know it's hard to believe, but just 2 weeks ago, the Pentagon confirmed the leaked photos. UFO pyramid base, they just said unidentified flying objects. They didn't say what they were or if they were off-world, because they could have been created by us. So a real good revelation recently. Greg Hunter from USA Watchdog. He interviews Steve Quayle, who, you know, everybody should know who he is. He's pretty famous. But what, and amongst other things, he's really taken this to the next level and saying we are in huge, huge trouble. But what he has that's absolute evidence of ET involvement is an Aztec artifact that's been revealed in Mexico. And you're going to see more about this. Actually, we're going to get pummeled with ET stuff as we move on. And Steve Quayle says, expect a fake alien invasion. But what he's created is a glyptionary. It's a dictionary of glyphs. Now, a glyph is like a letter or a symbol. Well, you know, think about Egyptian glyphs. And he's able to now, not just him, there's an entire team of people been working on this for a long time. They can now convert the glyphs to our language. And it tells the story of the fallen angels in the glyph that he's going to expose from Aztec, the Aztec one. And they're all over the world. So now we know how to read them. You can see that this has been written in front of us forever and probably hidden from us. Also, Naughty Beaver, unbelievable. He dropped 2 videos that are huge. It's like 5 hours of work altogether to go through them, but very, very important because it ties CERN into the story. And he talks about Mars and a connection between Mars and CERN. And so he's giving a very dire warning to watch for sign over the sky of Lake Geneva or anywhere around that CERN. You know, it's a 17-mile loop that goes under the lake. Other revelations from Naughty Beaver, this one's mind-boggling, and he got it from a deeper understanding of what Kary Mullis said before he died. And Kary Mullis invented the PCR, the test, you know, that's used for the corona test. And I couldn't understand what he meant when he said, if you test enough, you can find anything in anyone. And that was confusing to me, but Naughty Beaver simplified it. Every human being, just like the drop of water theory, contains the DNA of the entire universe inside your body. So we could have umpteen thousands of viruses currently in us. And this is what we're starting to learn now about the weaponization, is that we already have the weapon in us. And what's needed is, and that's why the ETs are involved, is you need a catalyst. And that seems to be introduced now to our population. So another thing that he said is you can make void any agreement you may have accidentally made with Satan. And a lot of us have done that and not realized it. And we can put it in writing and void it. And we need to start understanding spirituality differently and deeper. And it is our defense to have a really, really good, strong spiritual basis based on love and peace and harmony, and also service to others rather than service to yourself. He always talks about Nostradamus. I've learned so much from Naughty Beaver. I thank him. Dolores Cannon, I went back and studied her work, which is genius. Ra, the Book of One, he uses it all the time, and it is just a profound source of knowledge. But his favorite is Gosha from Cosmic Agency, and she dropped why I'm doing the video today. The Ark of the Covenant has been explained by her cohort. Gosha has a conversation with a Taigetan, an off-planet person who's from the galaxy of the Pleiades. By the way, Pleiades is in the Bible a whole bunch of times. So Cosmic Agency says through this explanation that there are 3 Ark of the Covenants, and this makes perfect sense. This is what I had suspected. And they're named Gabriel, Michael, and Isis, or Ishtar. And Isis, Ishtar, she was a geneticist. So that's the one that's really quite important to us. But what they are exactly, much, much older than the Moses story of the tablets, according to this understanding. And they were around way before. And it's a zero-point energy holographic device that has artificial intelligence with a self-defense mechanism in it. It uses an EMF reader, and it can read your frequency, and it knows if you are malignant or benign, or like if you're a threat to the box itself. So it has built-in self-defense into it. So here's what's really crazy. And by the way, what it is a lab in nano formula of all living creatures, not just, well, on Earth, but some of them were brought from other places. And Earth is a living laboratory. And those 3 boxes were containing all of the genetic material of all living creatures on Earth inside the 3 Arks of the Covenant. Why 3? Well, obviously, the deception that you can use when you get everyone focused on one and then hide the other 2. And they were hidden very, very well underneath Giza, 1, not any longer, and 1, and this is the craziest part of this, was under the Grand Mosque in Mecca, and it was the Ark of Gabriel. And you can find, and I'll put the link down below, the Star Daily from London did a story, and a lot of stories have been written about this. And I remember this happening because it was on September 11th, 2015, a 15-man crew. So what was happening was they were doing restoration around the Grand Mosque in Mecca. And a 15-man crew found the box and they tried to remove it. And they were all killed from a burst of energy. Then a few days later, on the 24th, they tried to move it again, and they had the worst crane accident in world history, where, well, this says 4,000 people were killed in a plasma emission, but the Saudis toned it down and said that 2,000 people were killed in a stampede. So the Saudis really helped to cover this whole thing up, and they presented it to Russia, and Russia moved it. They had another accident while moving it, but they have moved it to the Vostok base in Antarctica. And you hear Steve Quayle talking a lot about Antarctica. Antarctica, we need to know the truth. What is there? So all of these things are so important, and they're coming out. But in order for us to win, We need more truth, and we need to share the truth with more people, because we are in a war, and it is a war for hearts and minds. But you can see that a lot of the planet is completely asleep. And that's why this Romana thing is so funny to me, as people ignore it. Everything gets sort of blown aside, and no one can take anything seriously anymore. So all that I can say is we know that we are going to win in the end. So we must forward in this generation triumphantly. Thank you very much for watching.